disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hello, and welcome to Have You Seen Us podcast. Today is April the 15th, 2023. This is coming from the Unsolved Murder and Missing Network. This is coming out of West Virginia, Charleston. This is Bobby Eugene Adams. He was 31 at the time of his disappearance. He would be 62 today. He went missing on November the 30th of 1991. Adam was last seen in Charleston, West Virginia. He worked as a cab driver for C&H Cab Company at the time of his disappearance. He began his shift around 4 p.m. that day. He was supposed to return to the car to C&H Cab at 3 a.m. the next day, although it wasn't uncommon for him not to return at the precise time. C&H Cab Company received a communication with Adam around 11:45 p.m. He was last seen on Washington Street East at 3:45 a.m., accompanied by a Caucasian man in his 40s with blonde or light brown hair. He was about 6 feet tall at the time, wore a brown jacket, and was never identified. Adams never returned his taxi and has never been heard from again. His cab was found at dusk near Twinkle Drive on December the 1st, parked about 70 feet off the road, partially concealed in bushes. It had many scratches on it. One of the front lights was broken. Christmas presents Adams had purchased for his family were in the trunk. On the floor of the passenger back seat was a pool of blood. Authorities stated there was enough blood to presume unalive had occurred. Foul play is suspected in Adams' case.
That was 1991, and that was Bobby Adams' dad, still driving a C&H taxi cab just like his son, who at the time had been missing for 3 weeks.
I hate to think that he's dead, but, under the circumstances, I can't think of anything else. He wouldn't have stayed away this long.
A lot has changed in the 3 decades since that interview, but one thing hasn't. Bobby Adams is still missing.
It is a very bizarre case.
The 31-year-old was last seen driving the cab on Washington Street East around 4 o'clock in the morning that Saturday. By 5 o'clock that evening, a puzzling discovery by a neighbor.
Adams' cab was discovered late Saturday afternoon in a wooded area off Twilight Drive. A parking light was broken. The other damage occurred as it was towed from an embankment. A large pool of blood covered the rear floor and seat. His colleagues at C&H are at a loss to explain what happened.
I think it's a shame that a man can't go out and make a living without getting shot or cut up.
But at the time, police didn't know if the blood came from Adams or someone else.
Well, kind of even weren't sure if he was the victim or maybe even the suspect.
Right. At that time, you had no clue because you have the cab, you have the blood, and no one around it.
Adams was just a little more than 5 feet tall and weighed only 110 pounds. Police had little to go on, but did release that Adams was seen that morning with a white man with medium-length blonde hair who was between 35 and 40 years old.
We don't know at this point whether that was a fair friend or whatever. It could have been anything.
That person never came forward.
Police putting out a nationwide search for Adams. They used dogs and dragged the Elk River from boats the next day, searching for clues that never came.
Bobby was last seen wearing a blue windbreaker, tan dress pants, and black shoes. He is described as an African-American male, black hair, brown eyes. Adams may have a mustache and may have a shaved head. If you think you've seen him, please don't hesitate to call 911 or the investigating agency which is Charleston Police Department at area code 1-304-348-6480. The source for this information is West Virginia State Police, the State Journal, NamUs, Missing Persons, Bobby Adams, and more. Thanks again for watching Have You Seen This podcast, and bye-bye for now.